The NOTICEOFIMMEDIATEVESSELCATION was taped to my jet ski when I got back from my morning ride. Bold red letters screamed across the top. WATERCRAFTB ANNADF ROMLAK ESID ESEETES DAESEA WATAOA IOA AEIAI Y $50,000. I ripped the notice off my Sea-Doo, my hands shaking with rage as I read Sharon Whitmore's signature at the bottom. HOA President. The woman who'd made my life hell for 8 months was now trying to steal my jet ski. What Sharon didn't know was that 3 days earlier, I'd closed on the biggest purchase of my life. Every boat slip these entitled yacht owners depended on, every fuel pump they needed, every dock they tied to, I now owned all of it. And I was about to teach Lakeside Estates HOA what happens when you mess with the wrong person. Let me back up to where this nightmare began. My name's Marcus Chen, and I moved to Lakeside Estates 11 months ago after selling my tech consulting business. The lakefront community looked perfect: upscale homes, private marina access, and the kind of peaceful water views I dreamed about during 20 years of 14-hour workdays. The realtor, Jennifer Walsh, had been enthusiastic about the community's amenities. "The HOA maintains everything beautifully," she'd gushed, walking me through the common areas. "Marina access, boat storage, even a community yacht club. You'll love it here." What Jennifer didn't mention was Sharon Whitmore. Sharon appeared at my door exactly 48 hours after I moved in, clipboard in hand and a smile that could freeze lava. "Welcome to the neighborhood," she said, though her eyes were already cataloging everything about my property. "I'm Sharon, your HOA president. We need to discuss some community guidelines." I should have recognized the warning signs. The way she stood just inside my personal space. The condescending tone when she explained how things work around here. The barely concealed disgust when she spotted my jet ski trailer in the garage. "Personal watercraft," she said, pronouncing the words like they tasted bad, "are not in keeping with Lakeside Estates' refined atmosphere." "It's a Sea-Doo," I replied, confused. "For recreation." "Mr. Chen, we maintain certain standards here. Our residents prefer sailing vessels and cabin cruisers. More sophisticated watercraft." That should have been my first clue about what kind of community I'd bought into. For the first few months, I tried to fly under Sharon's radar. I kept my jet ski in the garage, only taking it out early mornings when the lake was quiet. I followed every HOA rule, down to the letter: proper mailbox height, approved paint colors, landscaping that matched community standards. But Sharon was always watching, always finding new ways to remind me that I didn't belong in her perfect lakeside kingdom. The violation notices started small. My grass was allegedly too long, measured personally by Sharon at 6 a.m. with a ruler. My outdoor furniture was the wrong shade of beige. My driveway needed power washing because it showed unsightly wear patterns. Each notice came with escalating fines. $25 became $50. $50 became $100. The violations arrived weekly, sometimes twice a week, each one signed with Sharon's flourishing signature and a reminder that community standards must be maintained. My neighbors started avoiding me. Word was spreading that I was Sharon's latest target, and in Lakeside Estates, that made you toxic. But the real war started when Sharon caught me launching my jet ski at the community marina. It was a Tuesday morning in June, lake surface light glass, perfect for a quick ride before the summer heat set in. I was backing my trailer down the boat ramp when Sharon's white Mercedes SUV screeched to a stop behind me, blocking my exit. She climbed out, wearing tennis whites and fury. "What do you think you're doing?" Launching my jet ski, I said, though it seemed obvious. Not from our marina, you're not. She pulled out her phone and started recording. This is private community property, and personal watercraft are prohibited. I checked the HOA documents later that night. There was no prohibition on jet skis, just vague language about appropriate vessels and maintaining community character. But Sharon wasn't interested in what the documents actually said. She was interested in power, and I was her newest victim. The next morning brought a formal violation notice, unauthorized use of community marina facilities. Fine, $500. The morning after that, operation of prohibited watercraft in community waters. Fine, $1,000. By Friday, I'd accumulated $3,200 in fines for riding my jet ski 4 times. That weekend, Sharon called an emergency HOA meeting. The subject line on the email blast made her intentions clear, addressing serious marina violations and protecting our community standards. The community center was packed when I arrived for the meeting. Sharon had turned this into a show trial, complete with a projector displaying enlarged photos of me and my jet ski. "Ladies and gentlemen," Sharon began, commanding the room like a prosecutor, "we face a serious threat to everything that makes Lakeside Estates special." She clicked through her slideshow, each photo making my Sea-Doo look like an environmental disaster. Personal watercraft create noise pollution, disturb wildlife, and attract the wrong element to our community. The crowd murmured agreement. These were people who owned 40-foot yachts and considered anything under 30 feet common. The marina usage fees alone don't cover the damage these machines cause to our docks and water quality, Sharon continued, her voice rising with manufactured outrage. But that's not the worst part. She clicked to a new slide showing property value statistics. Communities that allow personal watercraft see an average 12% decline in property values within 2 years. It was complete fabrication, but the audience didn't know that. Therefore, Sharon announced triumphantly, the board is implementing immediate emergency restrictions. All personal watercraft are banned from community waters and marina facilities, effective immediately. The applause was deafening. "Mr. Chen," she said, looking directly at me with undisguised satisfaction, "you have 72 hours to remove your vehicle from our property. After that, we'll have it impounded at your expense." That's when I realized Sharon had made a critical mistake. In her research on how to destroy me, she'd failed to research who I actually was. See, there was something about Marcus Chen that wasn't on any HOA application or neighborhood gossip chain. Something that would have made Sharon reconsider declaring war on someone with a modest jet ski. For the past 15 years, I'd built and sold 3 successful companies. The last sale had netted me enough money to buy anything I wanted, including, if necessary, the marina that every Lakeside Estates resident depended on. Lake Paradise Marina sat on 12 acres of prime waterfront, with 200 boat slips, fuel services, and the only deep water access for miles. The owner, Bob Martinez, had been trying to sell for 2 years but couldn't find the right buyer. Wednesday morning, I called Bob. "Marcus, how's retirement treating you?" "It's been interesting." "Bob, is the marina still for sale?" "You thinking about buying a boat?" "I've got some beautiful cabin cruisers that—" "Not a boat, Bob. The whole marina." The silence stretched so long I thought the call had dropped. "You're serious?" "Dead serious." "What's your asking price again?" $2.8 million. "But, Marcus, that's a huge commitment. The marina business isn't like tech consulting." "I'm not buying it for the business, Bob. I'm buying it for the real estate." That afternoon, I met with my lawyer, David Kim, who'd handled all my business acquisitions. "David, I need this purchase completed as quickly as possible. What's the fastest we can close?" "With cash?" If the seller's motivated, we could close in 5 days. Make it happen. Thursday morning, I made Bob an offer he couldn't refuse. 3.2 million, all cash, 3-day close, no financing contingency. Friday afternoon, I owned Lake Paradise Marina, and every boat slipped the Lakeside Estates HOA had been using under their community agreement. Sharon had 72 hours to remove my jet ski from the marina. She had no idea that I now controlled every inch of water access her precious community depended on. Saturday morning brought Sharon's enforcement committee to my door. 3 men in golf attire, led by HOA Vice President Gerald Barnes, a retired insurance executive who'd clearly never been told no in his life. "Mr. Chen," Gerald announced formally, "we're here to escort your watercraft from community property." "I understand," I replied calmly. "But there's been a change in the situation." "No changes," Sharon snapped, stepping out from behind Gerald. The deadline was clear. "Remove it now or we impound it." I pulled out my phone and made a call. "Marina office? This is Marcus Chen, the new owner. I need you to post new access restrictions immediately." Sharon's confident expression flickered. "What are you talking about?" Effective immediately, I continued into the phone. "All vessels registered to Lakeside Estates, residents are banned from marina property pending review of lease agreements." The color drained from Gerald's face. "You can't do that." "Actually, I can. As of yesterday afternoon, I own Lake Paradise Marina. Every slip, every dock, every fuel pump your community uses." Sharon stared at me like I'd spoken in a foreign language. "That's impossible." David Kim at Kim, Chen, and Associates handled the purchase. "You can verify it with county records if you'd like." The silence stretched between us like a taut wire ready to snap. "Now," I continued pleasantly, about my jet ski ban, "I'm thinking we need to revisit that decision." The emergency HOA meeting was called for Sunday evening. Word had spread through the community like wildfire. The guy they'd been persecuting now owned their marina access. I arrived to find the community center packed beyond capacity. Sharon sat at the board table looking pale and shaken, flanked by Gerald and the other board members who all looked like they'd rather be anywhere else. "Ladies and gentlemen," Sharon began, her usual commanding presence replaced by obvious desperation, "we're here to discuss a development that affects our marina arrangement." "What Sharon's trying to say," I interrupted, standing up from the back of the room, "is that your watercraft access just became my decision to make." The crowd erupted in nervous chatter. These were people who'd invested hundreds of thousands in boats, assuming their marina access was permanent. "Mr. Chen," Gerald spoke up, trying to project authority he no longer had, "our community agreement with the marina predates your ownership. Those contracts are binding." "Actually, they're not." I pulled out a folder David had prepared. The agreement was month to month, terminable by either party with 30 days' notice. And it expired 2 weeks ago. Sharon's face went white. "Bob Martinez said it was automatically renewable." "Bob Martinez doesn't own the marina anymore." "I do." The room fell silent, except for the sound of Sharon's rapid breathing. "However," I continued, "I'm not unreasonable. I'm willing to negotiate new access agreements for community members." Relief flooded the room. Several people actually applauded. "There's just one condition," I added, and the applause died instantly. "The HOA's ban on personal watercraft needs to be permanently rescinded." Sharon jumped up from her seat. "Absolutely not. We will not compromise our community standards for your extortion." "It's not extortion, Sharon. It's business. You tried to ban my jet ski from marina waters. Now I own those waters. This is illegal. We'll sue." "You'll what?" I asked calmly. Sue a private marina owner for setting access policies on his own property? Good luck with that. Gerald leaned over to whisper frantically in Sharon's ear, but she shook him off. Fine, she screamed, her perfect composure finally cracking. You want to play games? Two can play. We'll find another marina. Good luck with that too, I replied. Lake Paradise is the only deep-water marina for 40 miles. The public boat ramp is 6 miles away and can't handle anything over 20 feet. The crowd was murmuring now, doing quick mental calculations about their boat investments and alternative access options. You're holding our entire community hostage, Sharon accused. No, Sharon. I'm giving you a simple choice. Rescind the jet ski ban and everyone keeps their marina access. Keep the ban and find somewhere else to dock your boats. Board member Patricia Hendricks, who owned a 50-foot yacht, raised her hand. Sharon, maybe we should consider. No, Sharon cut her off. We do not negotiate with terrorists. That's when yacht owner James Morrison stood up. Sharon, my boat's worth more than most people's houses. I'm not losing marina access over your personal vendetta against jet skis. The crowd began to turn. One by one, boat owners stood up to voice support for rescinding the ban. Sharon watched her coalition crumble in real time. Fine, she hissed finally. We'll vote. The result was unanimous, except for Sharon's single no vote. But I wasn't done with her yet. Monday morning brought a new development. David Kim called with interesting news from his research into HOA finances. Marcus, you're going to love this. Sharon's been charging marina access fees to residents for the past 3 years. How much? $200 per month per slip. She's collected over $480,000. But the marina agreement was free access as part of community amenities. Exactly. She's been pocketing the money. This was even better than I'd hoped. Sharon hadn't just abused her authority, she'd been stealing from her neighbors. There's more, David continued. She's also been charging marina maintenance assessments, another $150,000 over 2 years. All for maintenance that Bob Martinez says the marina handled itself. So she's embezzled over $600,000? Looks that way. I'm drafting a letter to the district attorney. But I had a better idea. Tuesday morning, I called another emergency HOA meeting. The community center was even more packed than Sunday. Word had spread about the mysterious financial irregularities mentioned in my meeting notice. Sharon arrived late, flanked by 2 lawyers from the most expensive firm in town. She'd clearly prepared for battle. Before we begin, I announced to the crowd, I want to thank everyone for accepting the new marina access agreement. Your boats are welcome at Lake Paradise Marina. Polite applause. However, during the transition, some financial questions have come up about HOA marina fees. Sharon's lawyers immediately started whispering to her, but she waved them off confidently. For the past 3 years, I continued, residents have been paying monthly marina access fees averaging $200 per slip. Nods around the room. Everyone knew about the fees. What you might not know is that the original marina agreement included free access as part of community amenities. These fees were entirely unauthorized. The room went dead silent. Additionally, residents have been charged marina maintenance assessments for maintenance that the marina provided at no charge. Sharon shot to her feet. Those fees covered community improvements and… Sharon, I interrupted gently, where's that money? Her face flushed red. It's in the Community Improvement Fund. Actually, it's not. I pulled out David's forensic accounting report. The money was deposited into a separate account controlled solely by you. An account not mentioned in any HOA financial reports. The crowd erupted. Residents who'd paid thousands in unnecessary fees were shouting questions, demanding answers. This is outrageous. Sharon screamed over the chaos. I will not be accused of impropriety by some outsider who's trying to destroy our community. The district attorney will sort it out, I replied calmly. I've already forwarded all the financial records to their fraud division. Sharon's lawyers were pulling her toward the exit, but she shook them off for one final attack. You think you've won? She spat at me. You think buying that Marina makes you special? You're nothing but a tech bro with too much money and no class. Maybe, I agreed, but I'm a tech bro who owns your Marina access. The investigation moved quickly. Within a week, Sharon was arrested on charges of embezzlement, fraud, and breach of fiduciary duty. The local news ate up HOA president, steals $600K while banning residents jet ski. The story went viral on social media. Sharon became the face of HOA corruption, with memes about jet ski revenge and Marina justice. Late-night comedians made jokes about the most expensive jet ski ban in history, but the real satisfaction came from watching the community transform. With Sharon gone, the new HOA board was actually reasonable. They eliminated most of her petty restrictions, reduced fines to reasonable levels, and focused on actual community maintenance instead of lifestyle policing. Property values, which had stagnated under Sharon's reign of terror, began climbing as word spread about the community's new management. Most importantly, residents started enjoying the lake again instead of living in fear of violation notices. 3 months after Sharon's arrest, I was out on my jet ski when I spotted a familiar sight. Gerald Barnes was launching his cabin cruiser at the Marina, same boat ramp where Sharon had tried to ban me. He waved me over as I idled past his slip. Marcus, I owe you an apology, he said, looking genuinely remorseful. We should have stood up to Sharon years ago, instead of letting her turn our community into a police state. Don't worry about it, Gerald. We all make mistakes. For what it's worth, the lake's more peaceful now. Kids are swimming again. Families are using the community beach. It feels like a real neighborhood instead of a museum. He paused, watching a family teaching their daughter to water ski. Sharon always said she was protecting property values, but she was really just protecting her own power. You showed us the difference. That evening, I got a call from Patricia Hendricks, the new HOA president. Marcus, we're planning a community barbecue next month. Will you be there? Wouldn't miss it. Good. And Marcus? Bring your jet ski. Some of the kids want to try riding one. The fraud trial was swift and decisive. Faced with overwhelming evidence, Sharon pled guilty to all charges. She received 18 months in prison, 5 years probation, and full restitution to the community. Her lawyers tried to argue that she'd been maintaining community standards, but it's hard to justify stealing $600,000 for personal use while banning someone's jet ski. The judge's comments during sentencing were particularly satisfying. The defendant abused her position of trust to enrich herself while creating a hostile environment for the residents she was supposed to serve. This kind of petty tyranny has no place in community governance. Sharon was led away in handcuffs, no longer the imperious HOA president, but just another white-collar criminal. A year later, Lakeside Estates was thriving. The new HOA board had eliminated most of Sharon's ridiculous restrictions, focusing on actual community needs instead of lifestyle control. The Marina was busier than ever. Boat sales had increased as word spread about the community's reasonable management and beautiful waterfront access. Property values had increased 15%, ironic, considering Sharon's claims about jet skis destroying home values. Most satisfying of all, the lake was alive with activity. Families swimming, teenagers wakeboarding, couples enjoying sunset cruises. The kind of waterfront community I'd imagined when I first moved there. I still ride my jet ski most mornings, usually meeting other early riders who've moved to the community specifically because of its reputation for reasonable HOA management. Sometimes I ride past Sharon's old house, now owned by a young family with 3 kids who love the water. Their jet skis sit in the garage where Sharon used to park her Mercedes, and their laughter carries across the lake where her complaints once echoed. But the real victory wasn't just stopping Sharon or getting revenge for her harassment. It was proving that bullies only have the power you give them. Sharon had controlled the community through fear and petty enforcement because nobody had ever challenged her authority. She had assumed that owning expensive boats made her neighbors too invested in the status quo to fight back. She never considered that the quiet guy with the jet ski might have enough money to buy the marina they all depended on. The lesson isn't that you need millions of dollars to fight HOA abuse. The lesson is that most bullies are weaker than they appear, and when you stand up to them with the right leverage, they crumble faster than their false authority can protect them. These days, when new residents ask about the community's history, longtime residents tell them about the Great Jet Ski War, how one person's refusal to be intimidated transformed an entire neighborhood. They always end the story the same way: don't mess with the quiet ones. You never know what they're capable of. Sharon Whitmore tried to ban my jet ski from community waters. Instead, she lost her freedom, her reputation, and her community. Sometimes, justice comes with a 2-stroke engine and a spray of lake water. 6 months after Sharon's sentencing, I received an unexpected visitor at the marina. Bob Martinez, the former owner, stopped by during one of his fishing trips. "Marcus, I have to ask," he said, watching me fuel up my jet ski, "did you really buy this place just to stick it to your HOA?" "That was part of it," I admitted. "But it turned out to be a good investment too." Bob laughed. "Best revenge purchase in marina history. You know what Sharon's doing now?" "I heard she got out early for good behavior." "She did. And guess where she moved?" I raised an eyebrow. "Pine Valley Estates. 40 miles inland. No water access whatsoever." We both laughed at the irony. Sharon Whitmore, who'd spent years lording over a lakefront community, was now stuck in suburban desert with the nearest water being a community swimming pool. "Think she learned her lesson?" Bob asked. "Probably not. But Pine Valley's problem now." As Bob headed back to his fishing spot, I fired up my jet ski and headed out onto the lake. The morning was perfect calm water, clear skies, and not a single violation notice in sight. In the distance, I could see the new HOA president, Patricia, teaching her grandkids to paddleboard near the community beach. No stress, no fear of citations, just a family enjoying the water. That's what Sharon never understood. Communities aren't built on fear and control. They're built on trust, respect, and the simple pleasure of neighbors who actually like each other. And sometimes, they're protected by someone with a jet ski and enough money to buy the marina. The water called, and I answered, leaving a wake of freedom behind me as I raced toward the horizon Sharon had tried so hard to control. She'd wanted to ban my jet ski from these waters. Now these waters belong to me.